Good evening and welcome to the Wild Weather blog. First time for us. My name's Ian. I'm sales and marketing.
Hello, my name's JD and I'm the head brewer.
And I'm Smiley Dave and I'm neither.
So usually our lovely JD would write a blog about a certain beer that we've done. But for those of you that know Smiley Dave, have seen Smiley Dave, have been simply in his presence, it makes a lot more sense to have him on camera. So Dave, tell the people what you do.
I create videos, I do comedy, I do stand-up comedy, I make observational comedy, I do writing for certain things. I used to do writing for TV. I used to be a presenter for Scuzz TV, RIP, pour one out. And I used to do radio back in the day. I used to voice cartoons for the Moomins. Basically, I job hop quite a lot. I have commitment issues that go very much through my career.
And where can people find you if they're looking for you online?
Oh, just go to smileydave.com or facebook.com/Smiley Dave UK. Smiley Dave UK all across the board: Instagram, Twitch, Twitter.
Perfect. I suppose Dave, we've pulled Dave onto this hugely unprepared, so I'm presuming he doesn't have a beer on the go.
No, I've literally just finished. I'm four days into a keto thing. I'm feeling like the foot, and I just finished a wonderful carb-free taco.
Perfect. Jay,
is that just a pile of mints?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
If you really dream, you can really see the pita bread there. It's not there.
Yeah.
Jay, I noticed you pouring a beer. What have you got?
Oh, just a session beer today. It's a cephalopod.
And for those that haven't read previous blogs, what is said
I have
session
our
beer?
Session 12% Imperial Heather Honey Stout. Mostly because I haven't got any session beer in the fridge because I've been going to work on foot. I can't take very many session beers home because they just shake up in the bag. So I've got what's in the fridge, and yeah, no complaints. It's Friday.
Well, I was informed one of my first visits to Wild Weather Ales Brewery. That one of your skadooshas was a session beer, which I had at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, breakfast beer then.
Yeah.
That's
and
not your brunch beer.
Well, talking of a breakfast beer, I've got our John Peel, our banana milkshake IPA. And for those of you that have recently seen the advert pop up on your Facebook, I'm drinking it in the correct glassware.
Which makes you look like some kind of like gnome god. I
never thought that would be a problem with that ad. The thing is that for those of you who have seen that ad, it's Mike's hand, and Mike is a very tall man, and he's got very big hands, and he's made the glass look really small.
So I suppose we'll jump right in. So this is a collaboration. This is the Tropical coming out this year. This will be the third year we've released it, maybe fourth year.
Yeah.
So this was based. I've known Dave for an awful long time. Pre fame and stardom. I'd like to think personally that I've hindered that in some way.
So much.
As Dave was coming up, he started doing YouTube videos, telling stories of his colourful past, and one of those stories was how he created a cocktail. Now being a loyal friend and an avid viewer of Smiley Dave, I saw this video. So Dave, why don't you tell the people about this cocktail and essentially where the beer came from?
So I was working in a bar in my hometown of Newbury called Bricklayers, and no longer there. It's now changed to somebody else, but I don't know the name of it. And the owner there said, I think you should come up with your own cocktail. And I was like, okay. So I knocked some things together, and they sold really well. I came up with some ridiculous backstory about some aardvark being lost in the woods, and there was a magical aardvark. A guy got lost in the woods, and there was a magical aardvark who had to grant him 3 wishes. One wish, and that one wish was to be told the perfect ingredients for the most amazing cocktail ever made. And the story goes that he actually, the knowledge was too much for him, that he passed out, woke up, and came up with this instead in the morning. Totally forgot everything. But yes.
And
it was
I think I found a plot hole in that story, actually.
what?
Is it possible
what
that
about this magical aardvark in the wood story?
Well, no, I accept the magical aardvark. That's all
Oh.
above board. That's fine. More the fact that you say that the chap woke up the following morning and came up with something else and couldn't remember what the other cocktail was, right? Is it possible that he just had too much of the cocktail?
No, it didn't even. He was only told the knowledge. He was never like. Come on, an aardvark. How is that aardvark going to hold a cocktail?
We've missed a key point there. What was in that cocktail? What was the name of the cocktail, Dave?
Well, I'm getting there, right? If people are going to question the story, all right. I'll leave that for Google reviews.
We just have to get our facts straight. That's all.
So, but anyway, yeah, we did we created the cocktail, which was a mixture of Malibu, which was Malibu mango, Malibu pineapple, vodka, pineapple juice, and a shot of grenadine. And we sold them, and I called them the Smiley's Tropical Drink, or short for that was STD. And I assure you, there is nothing funnier than someone coming up to the bar and asking for a round of STDs. It brightens your nights. You'll find these sort of things when you're working in the bar. And yeah, they were one of our biggest sellers.
So upon hearing this, say we were looking for a summer beer. And I got in touch with Dave and said, "Why don't you come down to the brewery?" Between myself, Dave, JD, Mike, the rest of the Wild Weather team, we came up with the Tropical. Say now 3 years in. Dave, how was your day brewing? What do you remember?
I remember agreeing to having a beer and having my name on the beer. I remember agreeing to it all, not thinking that, oh my God, it could turn out god awful. Like, I didn't think my name was going to be on this can no matter what. It could taste like the sock, but luckily it was incredible. What I remember that day was once again having that skadoosh, and then the next hour and a half going missing because of said skadoosh. The other beer that you have there at Wild Weather. And then we had a massive meal. I did a little video of, I got myself together, made a little video of all around the brewery, all the different parts to it, put some funky music on it, called your manager, his doppelganger. I can't remember who it was. Jeff Bridges?
Bridges,
yeah. Put him Jeff Bridges in the video as well. I'm sure he was delighted with that. And yeah, and had a lovely time. We had an awesome lunch cooked up by yourself. Because although he does look like he lives under a bridge, Ian can really cook a mean burger and chips. So yeah.
So Jay, how has the Tropical, as head brewer, as a man that's brewed it every year, how has the Tropical sort of changed in recipe and evolved?
Well, I mean, to start with, like, when we're coming up with recipes, you often come downstairs and give me some kind of random brief and then go, there you go, figure it out. Can we make a beer that tastes like a melted Solero? Sure, why not? So the original recipe for the Tropical was essentially just a big 6% base beer with lots of oats, and then it lent quite heavily on kind of dried fruit like mango, dried pineapple, strawberry and things like that, and that was infused in straight into the FV. So since then, we've obviously clued ourselves in on different methods of infusion. Our process has changed a little bit, and we've modified the kit a little bit to take quite a lot of puree. So that allows us to brew beers like John Peel, which has a lot of banana puree in it. And so it made sense for us to try and, I suppose, almost be a little bit more true to the original Smiley's Tropical Drink and actually use quite a lot of mango puree in this, as well as the dried fruit, because the puree kind of adds a natural fruit juice sort of quality to it, and the dried fruit adds the kind of aroma and like top notes and flavor. So working together, they're really cool. This new batch has also had a yeast change, so that actually sounds nicer than it is, Dave. It's it's become onto an English ale strain now, so it finishes a little bit sweeter, which means it hides the bitterness even more than it did before. So hopefully this is going to become one of those horribly sessionable 6% tropical drinks that just are everywhere by now, I'm sure.
So for me, with previous to last year, which we won't speak about, we used to do a lot of tap takeovers, and this beer for me was has always been a blessing and a curse. It's been one of those that it's lovely because I've got a beer that I can go back to at any point during the afternoon, whether I'm trying other people's, whether I'm trying ours, and go back and just go, this is a delicious fruity drink. But it is 6%. So by the fourth one, this is a delicious fruity drink. Dave, I'm sure you've got your own stories on that.
I brought it into the workplace. When I was working in a video, we used to come up with ideas for videos and ads, and it's the first ever time that the other video producers were on board with all the stupid things that were coming out of my face when it came to coming up with ideas for videos about letting loose cougars in a shopping mall with a Nike tick on it, just because. I mean like animal cougars, not just middle-aged women.
Why not both? Why not both? Eh?
Well, why not both? Have them riding. Yeah. Have the cougar riding the middle-aged women. Oh, turn that on its ass. This is okay. But yeah, I also took it to 2000 Trees Festival. They had to bring their own drinks there. I gave one to like a load of band members and press people that are friends of mine. And every time they were just like, this is glorious. And I was like, if I could have chilled it, if I could have had it like I brought a fridge with me, then it would have been perfect. But out the boot, festival summer temp, they were still gorgeous.
And Dave, I suppose we should really touch on. So, as I say, when we first worked with you, you were a sort of fledgling YouTube star, just a few subscribers. Recently, this last year has really seen you sort of shoot to the bigger numbers. So,
yes.
What do you think? What do you think's caused that? What have you changed, and what's coming up next?
I changed. I think getting older has definitely helped. I think I care less about. I've always cared about comedy. Comedy is like the most important thing to me. But I think now I care less about what I look like, so I don't worry too much about. When we do these Zoom calls, I'm really looking at me now. It's just the camera, and just I don't really care. It's just all fun and games now. So I think age has helped, but also getting that first viral video last year was insane. When a website, a social media website called Joe.co.uk did interviews with the general public on one of the first ever lockdown, what are they called, protests. Back in the day, and I basically filled in the gaps to help people that were worried that all this stuff was happening and all the craziness at the time. Loads of people just like, oh my god, like carnage out in the streets, and it wasn't. But it looked like that on social media. So I just thought I'd add some funny quips and to all these crazy different characters that were on screen. And people related to it, and 60,000 overall, and 60,000 new followers later, and and now it's my career. Now I'm making comedy videos full time. Got my website sorted out. I mean, anyone can get a website. If I'm honest, that wasn't the biggest thing. Like anyone's got the spare £2.89, but. And just having a fan base and a community that are also just really awesome and funny as well. So it's been an incredible journey last year.
Right, I think at this point we'll leave it there, because we're going to do a part 2 to this when we've actually managed to get beer into Dave's hand. It's very unfair this evening. We've sent him nothing, given him nothing. This is the way we pay him. So once we've got beer into Dave's hand, we'll reach on part 2. JD, you got anything to sort of round off with?
No, not particularly.
Perfect. Well, with that, we'll leave it there. I'll make sure to link to Dave's website, or I'll make sure JD links to Dave's website, the previous video he did on making the tropical, and then we'll talk more about drinks and this year's renditions when next we record. Thank you very much, Dave.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, Dave.